Hey, good evening, everyone. Yes, it is. We are back. It is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. This month is flying by already. It's going to be February in a week. But hey, we're here. We're back. We're beautiful. We're bold. We're all that. But, of course, I'm Nick Rosario. I'm never alone, which is a good thing, because if I was left by myself, who knows what the hell would go on this show. But I have my cohorts here. They are the best. Delilah Crespo. Delilah, how are you on this fine Tuesday? How's it going?
Hey, everybody. Well, they said we're going to have a snowstorm. It got icy for a little bit in the morning, but it's all melting now because it's above 30. And in the Midwest, when it's above 30, we think it's a balmy day in the neighborhood. Let me tell you, we have weeks of below zero, like below average temps. So, like, once it hits that 30 and above to us, we're like, all right, great.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I was like, oh, my God, a heat wave. I opened the door, and I'm like, oh, it's 35. This is phenomenal. I like this weather. Tina Winter. Tina, how we doing? How's it going on this fine Tuesday?
Going good. Nothing much going on. Just got back from a family celebration, 60th wedding anniversary. Was always
congratulations.
Fun. So, yeah. And running around. Had to go to Rockford. It was my dad's birthday this weekend too. So.
Okay, right. That's right. You were doing the weekend trip to Rockford. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then
happy birthday to your father.
Happy birthday.
And then back down to Kankakee.
Busy weekend for Tina. In other words, she's exhausted and she's sitting at home going, why? No, I'm kidding. Absolutely great. That's good. Again, happy anniversary and happy birthday to your dad. Mr. Handy.
Sir, yes, sir.
Or as he likes to be called, home of the Whopper. I hope that's not a veiled metaphor for something else, my friend, Mr. Steak and Potatoes. But how are you doing on this fine Tuesday, Mr. Handy?
Only you, bro. Only you. I just picked stuff up just for grins and giggles, and you just take it and just go the whole opposite direction. Just.
Do you know me?
Have people
Do
call
you know me?
Can I speak to Mr. Diggler, please? No, that's not me.
Come on, Dirk. How you feeling? No, I'm kidding.
No, not at all. Anyway. Not bad.
Okay, not bad.
I got the it took 4 years, but the ick finally caught up with us here at the house. So I have been here since Thursday.
Oh, okay.
I got a text message on Thursday from the missus, and I was like, "Hey, boss, I has to go." So I've been here. I've pretty much been stuck here. Well, not. You know what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying, right? We know what you're saying.
Been in the house for a few days, and But plus side, I have lost 8 pounds. So there's that.
Wow. Okay. I mean, byproduct of that. So I mean, that's a good thing. But I hear you. Being in the house for 5 days is never fun on purpose. Having to stay there.
Well, I'll put a thing in the message because I still have a job I want to go back to.
Yeah,
but
sure, absolutely.
I'm not. So I'm still waiting for a negative test so I can go back to work. Pretty much.
No, I got you. Understood. I mean, and again, this is just a general thing for everybody. Like 4 years later, and we're still dealing with this. Isn't that something? Like, I mean, really, I knock on wood every day because I've been very fortunate that I haven't gotten it. And believe me, every day I go, okay, not today. You know, I mean, I know everybody in my family has gotten it really. I mean, or they've been sick, you know, and then I know every other, you know, many other people who have gotten it or went through it, not even just when it happened, but like in the last year or so. And I'm just like, wow, it's just still very prevalent. I think people feel like it's gone, but it really isn't, is it?
No. Well, this is all I have to say. If I had to catch it, I'm glad I caught the season 4 version when the writers settled down and figured out exactly how they were going to flesh out all of the main characters
There you go. Yeah.
versus season 1, which where everything was just kind of scorched earth. Kind of sounds like I'm talking about Game of Thrones, doesn't it? But yeah, like everything was scorched earth, and it was just like, if you catch it, you will die. Like, you know, so I mean, not to make like, because I've lost a lot of loved ones and old friends from back in the day, but yeah, the season 4 version is definitely a lot more palatable. Definitely a lot more palatable. But you know what? It's Tuesday. I'm on here with my crew, and as I like to say every Tuesday, you stole my joke. No, that's 2 weeks ago.
I'm very joke. Again, and on that note, now we can start the show, right? We got that out of the way. Thank you to whoever's watched. We apologize because it just said Facebook user on our screen. So whoever you are, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you'll identify yourself. But as always, we're going to go back to something we like to do. We start this with a coin toss. Here we go. All right. Well, there are some things we definitely wanted to talk about. We were lighting up the group chat the last few days with a lot of stuff that's happened. Okay, Lawrence, thank you for tuning in, sir. We found out that you are the Facebook user. Thank you. Appreciate that. Big Thor, probably sitting in his living room just listening to us. Very nice. Thank you. Johnny D. Yeah, Johnny, we started the show. Where have you been? Come on, Grandpa, get in the game. Yeah, we know Big Larry. We know who you are. We know who you are, Lawrence. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Well, we
Johnny,
know who Lawrence is.
We know who Lawrence is. Sorry, yes. The Chicago people do. Anthony, this is a gentleman who's about 6 foot, I don't know, 4, long blonde hair. Like, we call him Thor. It's a good nickname for him.
Thor and wait, Garrett from Roadhouse, because he.
Garrett from Sam. He does resemble Sam Elliott a little bit with the way that he looks. So it's Garrett from Roadhouse. Or whatever you want to call him. Big Larry. Thank you.
He's also been a Thor guy, which is even funnier.
Yeah, it is very true. Yes, that is true. Which is how I met him. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
I met him too.
So he puts the face on. All right, Lawrence, we got you, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, something interesting happened. I think it was yesterday, right? Or today, whatever it was. Zach Ertz has signed with the Detroit Lions, which I was a little shocked. I thought Sam Laporta was doing a fine job, but Lions decided to bring in Zach Ertz, and I'm going to go to Tina because Tina, being our legal person and our definite expert on the rules of the NFL, Tina, I was a little confused because I didn't think you could do this sort of thing, but can you clear this up for us?
From what I could see in the rules, it's not against it. They can bring anybody in at any time. He has to start on the practice squad. And so essentially it's kind of like what they did with Flacco when he came into Cleveland. They put him on the practice squad. Then they have to raise him up and then let someone go or move them down to the pass because it still has to be 53 men on the field. Now, what I did find out is because it is in the postseason. So when you come in on the practice squad, you can be elevated to the active list 2 times, 2 games. Okay. So he may stay on the practice squad and he'll just get elevated up for the game.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's how that works.
It is something that can be done, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Okay, it's kind of the analogy I have in my mind is if you've ever played fantasy football and the administrator didn't set it so you make the playoffs and everybody else's people that didn't make the playoffs, all of their team players get to go in the pool, and all of a sudden you're pulling out players and okay, now I can win. This is kind of how it feels to me. Now I get it. I get the Lions. They're hurt. Laporta is the only tight end they have. Well, they have 2. They don't trust the other one. There's a big difference. So it's not against the rules. They can do it. I mean, they wouldn't have splashed it all over social media if NFL was going to be like, I mean, I dug through that thing. I know more about practice squads and who is a registered and unregistered free agent and all
Right,
that. I'm
right,
like,
right.
it's got to be in here
Yeah.
somewhere, but it's nowhere in there. So
Okay.
I just think it's a little bit of an unfair advantage. But he didn't have a contract with any other squad. He was
a free
he
agent.
has to be let go. He's a free agent. So yeah, this might be one that I think maybe the NFL next year might be like, tweak that
All right, well, Delilah,
So-
what do you think? What do you think of this? I mean, Zach Ertz all of a sudden, again, sitting on his couch, going, "Hey, Lions gave me a call. Let's play some football, folks."
I'm not hating on him. I liked him when he was on Arizona. So I always thought I always thought he was a big part of their whatever offense they had, which wasn't much.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah.
but
Plus also part of the Eagles.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well,
he would
They say I was
get
gonna
big
be-
plays. He was at home with his wife. These are both championship. This is a championship couple. She has a few, Olympic gold medals.
right.
A FIFA World Cup wins. He's got a Super Bowl. So he was just chilling with his wife. And they were like, "Hey, listen, so we have a shot at another Super Bowl, and our tight end is hurt. So makes sense. Why not take the chance?"
No, I mean, right. I get it. I get why it happened. Absolutely. But Handy, that was going to be my next point, kind of. He's a guy with, playoff and Super Bowl experience. He's a guy who's won one. He's got a ring with the Eagles. How does this play in for Zach Ertz? How does this work out here, Anthony?
I don't know, because the games still have to be played, but I definitely think it makes for a great addition. 10, 15 years ago, I would have said he's been sitting around for a couple of years. He might have a little dust on the, to quote a country song that I hear quite a bit, dust on the bottle. But these new guys, this generation of guys are just coming off the shelf, ready to go. I mean, look at what Flacco did up until he flaccoed.
Right.
He flaccoed. Right. In the end, he flaccoed. We know.
Yeah, well,
right?
he was apparently he was flocking, and then he flaccoed in the last game. So,
Right, exactly.
But I think this could be a good. I think this could be a win-win for all parties involved. I mean, and all he had to do was, I'm pretty sure he just picked up the phone and go, "Hey, Jules, you won't guess who called me? I got a shot at getting a kicker on my pension if I win another ring. What do you think?" Like, hell yeah, I need a sunroom on that new house.
Exactly.
There you go. Why not?
Don't they get kickers to their NFL pension if they win Super Bowls? I know they get a kicker if they make the Hall, but don't they get additional monies to the pension if they win Super Bowls? Or am I?
That I'm not sure of.
All players, there is an incentive schedule and there is a postseason pricing. Again, I dug through the CBA trying to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Yeah.
So every player that hits the NFL, if they hit the Super Bowl, if they hit the playoffs, if they hit Pro Bowl, if they hit certain MVPs, all of those, they get additional money out of the postseason. They call it a postseason pool. And my thing is I don't have a problem. It's not the problem with Dallas, with Detroit, or with Ertz doing what he can. My problem is it's the postseason, guys. This is not during the season where you have 18 games.
Right.
And I get it. He was brought in to be a backup just in case something happened.
Right. Sure.
But would we be saying this thing if someone in the playoffs had their quarterback get injured and all of a sudden people brought in Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers if he was out there?
Right.
So to me, fine. It's been the way ever since. The thing is, if you clear waivers, you get to play. I don't like it in the postseason. That's my point.
I got you.
At this point,
fair
we're
enough.
down to 4.
Yeah.
It should be just the 4. I kind of talked with Nick about this. What this reminds me of is when Coach McDaniels got fired from the Denver Broncos.
Right.
He ended up being a consultant for the Patriots and was up in their booth during the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's an unfair advantage. That's the only thing I see with it, is being an unfair advantage.
No, I mean it's a fair. I mean it's a fair point. We'll see.
I know I'm in the minority on this one, but I just don't agree with it. So
We won't be talking about it again unless Zach Ertz catches a game-winning touchdown in the game this weekend, and then everybody will go, "Oh my God, you see what?" Right. So we definitely will be paying attention to that. We'll talk about that game later on. Let us move on now to a team that, well, apparently has this dark cloud over their head because, as we all saw this weekend, there was an eerie deja vu feeling I had watching the end of that game. Just a different guy cast in the same role as Cursed, as we all saw Tyler Bass miss a field goal wide right, kind of the same way Scott Norwood did on January 27th, 1991 in Super Bowl 25, when tasked with winning the game and winning the first Super Bowl for Buffalo. Scott Norwood kicked it wide right, giving the Giants the 20-19 victory. Now, we all know that led to Buffalo losing 4 Super Bowls at that time, in that late 80s, early 90s, or that 90s window. And now they've lost, 3 times to the Chiefs in the past few years? Mm-hmm. Guys, is Buffalo cursed? Is there just never is Buffalo never going to get over the hump here? Like, what in the world is happening? I'm just going to throw this out to everyone because I do want to hear from all of you guys. Like, what is going on there? Is it what is happening?
They're not cursed. They only had 4 linemen that could dress to come into the game. Okay, you can't do a pass rush with that. Secondly, their kicker was injured. They talked about that. So you're sitting there. The fact that team was able to keep the Chiefs to 24 points with those issues coming in, it's not the kicker's fault. They're not cursed. They need to make changes. They need to look at what they've been doing. Like, okay, and not make somebody a scapegoat, which we'll go into another thing I know we're going to talk about. They're not cursed. Come on, guys. Fans like curses because then that makes sense to them, because then it's, why isn't management doing A, B, or C? Like, is it the right head coach? Well, how many times has this coach taken them to the playoffs in the last 5 years and they've not been able to either they make it to the big game and don't make it to the championship and don't make the Super Bowl, or they get to this point and they lose. I thought that game was phenomenal. I thought the Bills were doing really, really good at controlling the Chiefs with all of the problems they had.
I agree with that, Lawrence. That was my
Stephon Diggs.
And Stephon Diggs not getting that ball.
Stephon Diggs had that ball hit him right in the breadbasket, and he watched it roll in the breadbasket, roll out of the breadbasket, and then he made that same dumb face. I could see it through his face mask. That same dumb face he made on Celebrity Family Feud when he made that joke. He thought it was so funny.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Wow, I wish we had that clip now, because that was hilarious. I remember that.
That was funny.
But see, that was the thing too. Like, I saw a stat, which was they showed like the first half, and then like the fourth quarter, he had like 0 catches, and like he just totally didn't show up. It seemed like Stephon Diggs was just not a factor at all, really, in this game. And it's that's your number one guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the guy you rely on most. Like you said, watching that play, you go, oh my God, it hit him right in the hands. How do you think about Stephon Diggs is going to catch that? How do you drop that? Like, it hit him right in the midst and just fell to the ground. Just incredible. I mean,
he is in a tough conference. I agree. Honestly, we always talk about it, that the AFC is like insane.
Put him in the hands of Stone Club and Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Who was rolled off for Sunday's game, so we didn't play anyways. So we didn't have to worry about. We had another Stone Hands and Stephon Diggs. So there you go. He became the new Stone Hands for that weekend.
Well, Tony isn't. Tony's out now. So.
He's out now though, permanently, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've said this before. I think I said this at some point during. I said this, and this was on the college show. You have 4 15-minute quarters. In order, and at which point you have all available opportunity, the same available opportunity as the team you're playing, to do everything you can to win the game. If you have not done everything you can to win the game, i.e., wide receivers that are asking for a bunch of money that can't catch footballs, even if you hit them in the face with it and it's doused and sticking. Even if it's your entire offense just decides that's it, we played enough football to win and doesn't show up in the fourth quarter, whatever
Right.
it is. It does not come down to that one play. It's not. It's not
agree.
Tyler Bass' fault. I mean, Tyler Bass came out and had the whole world on his back. The team was playing the way the team was playing. It was score for score, and I think what had happened when they hadn't Kansas City fumbled the ball out of the end zone, and Buffalo got the ball back, but it was that drive. At that point, that was where they had the opportunity to drive down the field and take the lead, and they didn't, and they couldn't do it. So it's like, please miss me with the. I mean, we like to, Tina, you're right. We like to use curses. I mean, Boston, their Sox were cursed forever until 04,
Cubs, 108 years,
Cubs,
right?
the GOAT,
right?
The GOAT,
yeah, the GOAT, right? So. I mean,
the Lions didn't Jeff Daniels and whatever, like Peyton Manning do a ritual for making jokes,
right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right. So it's like we like, because those things make more sense to us. We can take it and compartmentalize it. But what it comes down to is for yet another year, when given the opportunity to execute, the only time that the Bills had a legitimate excuse for losing to the Chiefs was the year they did not get the ball back in overtime.
In overtime, right.
But this
which
game
prompted a rule change.
Right.
So yeah.
This game right here, Buffalo fans, I'm sorry. Y'all are some of the craziest, funniest fans in the world to watch, but zero excuses. You had opportunities. There's a whole bunch of other people y'all can holler at instead of Tyler Bass. And leave that man alone, because y'all don't know who he rolled with in these here streets. He might have folks in the streets. So anyway, that's all I got.
I agree. I agree, honestly. Like I said at this show, I told you guys, don't give Kermit the ball. It's my. I'm like, do not give him any time. He spins out of stuff, and even when he messed up one play, he comes back like nothing. Like he's like whatever, and they didn't pressure him. You know that they talked about that too. The Buffalo Bills defense. If you pressure Mahomes, you can beat him because they've proven it before. If you pressure
can't
Mahomes,
do it with only 4 linebackers.
But I mean, there is
that's the fact of the matter. That's the reason why they didn't pass rush. That's why they blitzed. You're right. You have to put pressure on him. You've got to
pick him up.
Because
exactly. You don't,
and that's why I'm saying. That's why I said. The fact that they kept him to 24 points in that game when they were so decimated at linebacker and their defense wasn't at full strength, I give him a lot of props for that part of it.
Yeah, but he was.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, don't. You're right. But the thing is, he didn't. But the thing too is he passed more than Josh Allen, which tells me.
But he had the worst game of his season.
I still 184. This is Josh Allen. Is a 4 touchdown, right? Like he would get 4 touchdowns a game, at least 3 to 4, over 200 yards. He had 85 yards and 1 touchdown. And all of them were really short passes, which to me tells me they really played conservatively, in my opinion, with his passing game. Because they probably were Mr. Turnover, Josh Allen. And I think that's what they did. And I think that hurt them in the end. I think they really should have gone for some of those, some more passing.
And the one that the Chiefs couldn't hold back was the guy that they got involved late. And I'm trying to Google his name.
I agree.
Their tight end, not Knox, not him, but the other one that they got involved late. The Bills did. If they'd been able to get him the ball sooner.
Dalton Kincaid.
The young kid, the rookie. Yeah,
Dalton Kincaid.
Yep.
In that second half was lights out. And
he was. He was great. He was
they
great.
Needed to get him involved a little faster. But
See, every time they went for the big play, though, they didn't seem to convert it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, right? They may have played a little, except Kincaid, right?
Yeah.
He was, and then to the point. No, go ahead, Tina. Finish your thought. No, it's okay. Like I said, that's why we're here. We talk. We talk. We have our fun, but we do talk sports here. We can do that. I promise you. We have knowledge. We are here for a reason. But to get into our next,
Delilah, is that it looked like the Bills were playing so conservative in the second half of the game. Where in the first half, it looked like they were willing to give Josh a little bit of leash. Okay, you could make this run. Okay, you can try this. And in the second half, they just kind of kiboshed it because, again, they don't want him throwing interceptions. They don't want him doing this. And they got lucky with that fumble in the end zone. So
they really did, because if they had scored there, they'd be up 2 scores, and that game probably would have been out of reach at that point. But to piggyback off of all that happened, as we all know how the game pretty much ended, is that Tyler Bass did miss that field goal. And man, if they didn't, this poor guy literally had to deactivate all of his social media accounts because he was getting death threats and all this stuff. And it's like, oh man.
I agree.
Yeah, no, it is criminal what's happening about 100%. And again, we've seen this because I was there live. We all know I was there live well, not even that, when the Steve, and I know it's baseball, but when the Steve Bartman thing happened here in Chicago in 2003, that poor guy suffered. I mean, and it was just a fan. I get it that Tyler Bass was a player, but I mean, the fact that fans can get that fanatical where you go after someone personally, where they were putting this guy's address on the radio, he received death threat. He had to move. He moved to Florida just to get away from it. He had to. They were threatening. He lived with his parents, and they were threatening his parents. Like, this is ridiculous. And this is what we're, unruly fans. Are they ruining the game for everyone else, guys? I'm going to throw this out there. Andy, go ahead. You said yes. I heard your yes. Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes. When you pay for a ticket to see a football game, or you sit down in front of television to watch any type of sporting competition, the money you spend this is what it entitles you to: admission to the game. You're guaranteed to get in as long as you don't get yourself in any trouble. You don't get thrown out. It does not guarantee you to make any. It does not give you any rights to make any decisions regarding the players, the staff of either team, the staff of the facility, whether or not you like the cologne the person you're sitting next to you is wearing. It does not matter. It doesn't give you the right to do things like take snowballs and throw them. I mean, I know throwing snowballs at the opposing team because they won and get on the phone, and that's a if I pick up the phone right now and call Tina over Facebook, because I don't think I have any of you guys' numbers. If I call Tina over Facebook and say, I'm coming to get you, I'm give her the Brian Mills speech, I will look for you. I will find you, and she gives me the good luck. And I go looking for her. That's a criminal offense.
Right.
Yeah. It is true.
They're going to show up at Zagnum Central, and then they just see the screen go dark with the sign that said, dude, please stand by. That's it.
Yeah.
So why are these people getting a pass?
Because they're public. They're taking advantage of the fact that players and celebrities and all those guys are public figures. And they're on social media.
It doesn't matter.
So,
it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters.
I agree.
I think it should be more. Like in those cases, more should. But
the logic behind that,
warriors.
Yeah, the logic behind that is the same crap. I almost used one of your favorite words, Tina. It's the same crap that got y'all. Any of y'all remember Rebecca Schaefer?
Of course.
From My Sister Sam?
Yeah, from My Sister Sam, absolutely. That was horrible. Yeah, absolutely.
For those of you that are a little too young or not in the loop, Rebecca Schaefer was a young actress on a TV show called My Sister Sam, and she had a guy that stalked her, and he got mad because she did a love scene with a dude in some movie. He got her address from the DMV, and they did at least pass a law. It was because of this they passed a law that people who were public figures' information could not be given out.
Right.
And he got her information from the DMV. He showed up on her doorstep, and did he shoot her, stab her, something? And then
he killed her. Like, that's the bottom line.
Whatever he did,
killed her.
He took this young girl's life.
Yeah,
and because he was a fan, and he was entitled to. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's the same damn thing, because some of these folks, if they could have got a hold of Tyler Bass before he could have got out of the stadium,
right? No, you're right. It's scary. I think they take things too far, because again, I say that as someone who is a big fan, and like I said, I remember the double doink with Parkey. Was I upset because my team lost? Yes. Did I laugh at some of the memes? Yes, of course. But did I go and harass this man like other people did? Because he was harassed too.
Yeah, he was.
Did I stalk him? Did I? No, because I'm not insane. Like, I realized, you know what? At the end of the day, as much as I love my team, they're human beings.
Yeah.
And they lost as a team. They lost as a team. They could have won that in a multitude of other ways. And they left it up to a field goal, Same thing with Bass. It's like they lost as a team. This man deleted all of his social media presence. It's not the first time. We've seen it with Geekdom. They're the same way.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans, like all these, they go insane and threaten actors so much. You know that the actor that played Jar Jar Binks almost killed himself?
Yeah.
Because of the because of the harassment he felt, and so it's like same thing. These athletes, they're human beings, guys. I know we see them as Goliaths because they're massive, they're huge, and a lot of them have really great social media presence, and I get it, but man, they're human beings, and I agree with Anthony. Is like if you threaten anybody else, they will be knocking on your door. But I know the law too, so they're public figures, free speech, blah blah blah. Like I know, but the fact that he had to activate everything, that he probably had to tell his family, like, delete that you even know me, that you're, his friends, he's probably telling his friends, like, unfriend me, delete any connection because they're going to find me through you or they're going to harass me.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Like, that's insane. And then, the snowballs, I know it's just snowballs, but you're such haters, guys. In general, I like the jumping on tables that the Bills fans do because that's fun. You guys were having shots of beer with Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, Jason Kelsey.
That's fun. But this stuff, like, seriously, guys.
You want to hurt yourself? Knock yourself out.
Right, exactly. That's not you.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. No, and it really, like, it puts such a stain on the game and such a stain on professional sports in general, where people just can't separate that at the end of the day, it's a game. Like, we're all going to go, everybody's going to go home. Everybody's going to go to do their, and this guy has a family, I'm sure. And it's just, it's very sad. It really is because, again, at the end of the day, it's just a game. It's a game we love, but it's just a game. All right, well, let us move on. We want to get in now to the recaps of this weekend because we did have 4, count them, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I meant that joke. I know, yeah. But 4 games this past weekend to set up the AFC and NFC division conference championships this weekend. So let's start with our first one. I believe we got Texans and Ravens, right? We all number 1 seeded Ravens. Lamar Jackson reinvigorated there in Baltimore with some weapons now and all that good stuff. Beating up on, not beating. It turned out to that way at the beginning. Like that first half, if you were watching,
really
you thought for a glimmer, you go, ooh, the Texans are in this game. I can't wait for the second half. But, Delilah, the second half was a different story. What was your impression? Ravens, Texans. Obviously, Ravens got the better of the Texans 34-10. Go ahead.
Well, I picked the Ravens to win. But I didn't think it was – honestly, I really thought that they would be a little bit more competitive throughout the whole game, and it looked that way. Kudos to Lawrence calling an almost perfect score, by the way. I think you said 36-10, Lawrence. That was crazy.
He did,
so I didn't think it was going to be a blowout, but, no hate on C.J. Stroud and that young Houston Texans. I think the AFC just got more harder. It's already an insane conference. I'm sorry, Tina, because I know your team is in there. But the Houston Texans, for being a young team with a first-year coach, as far as they got, I mean, the fact that they even made it to the divisional round is amazing. That kid is going places. They got a young quarterback. They just, man, kudos to Houston. But Lamar Jackson and Baltimore, they had the number 1 defense. I think people forget that. They had the number 1 defense all season. And they showed it. They completely, by the way, for the first time, I think C.J. Stroud would have 2 or 3 touchdowns a games too. They held him off. That was impressive. I mean, they were like, nah, you're not getting nothing. The touchdown they got was from the special teams guy.
Yeah.
So it's it was amazing. Baltimore,
it was a
didn't
62-yard punt return.
So that was their touchdown. That was the only touchdown they had the whole game. I want people to think about that.
Very true.
And so, kudos to Baltimore saying, listen, you're coming into my house. I get that you're up and comer. And, Lamar gave him his props. Because, again, I like this good sportsmanship. But congratulations, Baltimore. I hope you do that to Kansas City next week. I know we're going to come out, but I'm
Please, sweet baby Jesus, do it.
Well, go ahead, Tina. We'll go to you. Your impressions of the Ravens-Texans game and, how much you're rooting for Baltimore this weekend. Go ahead.
I mean, that's about all I got to say because I really didn't get a chance to see the game. I was at
Gotcha.
my
Right.
aunt and uncle's
family.
wedding anniversary. I did see the game, because my cousin is a Lamar fan. So she's always liked him. She was keeping us up on the game. And then when it was like at the half, I knew they were tied. Then she was like, oh, it's 17. And then she's like, oh, it's 24. And that was the point at which I go, oh, the game is over.
Right. No, and I think that was fair to say. It was fair to say. Like I said, the first half was close, and you went, okay, Texans are in it, but it just seemed the second half, Baltimore hit that second gear, and they just stopped Houston cold. Like it was just, they couldn't get anything going on offense. Andy, your impressions of Saturday's game, Ravens-Texans?
I mean, what can I say? There's not a lot that I can say that my comments have not already said.
Fair enough.
The Texans definitely exceeded all expectations this season. And we always get that. We get at least one or two of this story every postseason where you've got that team that exceeded all the expectations, but at some point the dream comes to an end. And this was that point for the Texans. Since I'm not doing rookie spotlight this week, I say at the end of every rookie spotlight segment, I'm looking forward to great things hopefully out of the Texans next season. I think CJ was one of my rookies that I highlighted this season.
Yes, he was.
And the kid lived up to everything that they said that he was going to be. So from his talent to his leadership ability. I mean, plus that I think this year the Ravens really won it this year. And when by the Ravens, I mean Lamar Javarius, the guy that's behind the center. I watched the clip when he was drafted. They said, what is it you're looking forward to? You coming in NFL? And he just looked in the camera and said, I want that Super Bowl, baby. That's what I'm coming to do. That boy wants. Yeah. He wants a Lombardi. And I think there's a big part of him he won't say it outwardly, but he definitely wants to shut up all the noise that's going on, that's been going on around his career. So I don't think go ahead. I thought
I was gonna say I'm with you on that one, man, because I really feel like Baltimore is just here we go, a friendly reminder to you all. I was told to send this message from Sean. The Serengeti is a very dangerous trend lately with Baltimore. Yes. Thank you, Nathan Snell, for chiming in.
Is that your way of saying you're out here? I'm out here looking to be provoked.
Right. Nathan is looking to be provoked if you have something bad to say about the Ravens right now. So, yes.
Most of us picked them to win.
I know, but, but I'm telling you.
We're also the most balanced show, I think, when we're covering Baltimore. We don't criticize Lamar beyond what normal, like whatever. But we don't harp on him like the media does.
You did.
No, but I'm just telling you, Nathan's prepared.
If we did say something critical, so what?
Right. Oh well. Right. We'd be all right. Yeah, I know.
But I mean, right, we're not fair. The bias is what he's talking about. I don't think we've ever been that way.
Nah, not at all. He's absolutely
only team I'm biased against the Saints. Can't stand them.
Yeah, we know. No, believe me. Well, speaking of teams that I personally can't stand, our next game, oddly enough, was the 7th-seeded Packers taking on the 1st-seeded 49ers. And again, I will be the first to say that because again, I know I'm always been, I'm a Bears fan at heart, and yes, I don't like the Packers, we know. But I'm telling you,
this is a good game.
I was extremely impressed with how prepared Green Bay was for this game. They gave San Francisco absolutely everything they could handle and more. And I tell you something, as much as I'm excited about what the Bears could do this year, watching the youngest group of kids, like they're the youngest NFL team by average age in the NFL, play in that game. Let me tell you something. I think the Packers are for real, and they're going to be sticking around for a while. Jordan Love proved he could play. And these young rookies that nobody even knows half their names, with Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs. And I mean, these guys played a phenomenal game. So, Handy, we'll start with you. We'll go reverse order. Your impression? I mean, they gave the 49ers all they can handle. Well, what are your impressions of this game, Anthony?
Let's see here. Hooey. I think the 49ers have had a great season. But once again, we see what happens when they don't have their full complement. Debo goes out and the 4-wheel drive went into 3-wheel drive. I know there were some factors like the weather. I didn't really realize it was raining that badly until they showed the close up of the box.
John Lynch.
The John Lynch in the box. I was like, crap, it's coming down pretty hard out there. But the Packers were. Jordan Love was like, if y'all win today, you're going to have to beat us. This is not. You're not just gonna come out here and roll us over. You're going to have to beat us. And they made the 49ers beat them. Right down to CMC. I think it was CMC made the last score for he made that last score, right? And that was just CMC being CMC. But the 49ers, the Packers made the 49ers beat them. And it was a much better game than I expected. But again, the concern, that's what I thought about the game overall. Moving forward, the concern for the 49ers is Debo going to play? And if not, what are they going to do to make the adjustments? Because we have seen there is a big difference between the full gang, the full 49ers gang, and then the 49ers with Debo and no CMC, or the 49ers with CMC and no Debo.
Yeah.
So
that's what I got. Go ahead, Tina. What do you got?
Well, I think that, to me, I agree. Not having Debo in the game did kind of change. And I think that also gave an advantage to a young Green Bay secondary, because they're not having to cover Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, and Debo. So that allowed them to change some of their packages, which allowed them to maybe take advantage of some mismatches they had. Now, the one thing you also have to remember is going into, I think it was halfway through the third quarter, Christian McCaffrey had only had 14 touches in the game.
Okay.
So that's the difference. I think they do going into the Lions game is if Debo is not going to be there, they need to get Christian McCaffrey involved in quicker, faster, everything out. Yeah, if Debo's out, it will change the conversation that we're having. But again, a lot of people, I hate this thing that's going on. Like, well, is Purdy as good as he's supposed to be?
That's so annoying.
Barely beat the Green Bay. That's bullshit, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with
Shanahan's system doesn't need an Aaron Rodgers or anything else. He needs a game manager. People will hate me for saying this. Tom Brady was a game manager. He has, 7 Super Bowl rings and all of that other stuff? Game managers as quarterbacks win football games. That's just the way that it is. So, kind of, it's one of those. Now, not to take away from what Green Bay did. Green Bay was phenomenal in that game, and I do want to see what that young crowd does next year. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually grow, or if they have what happens if they make roster changes, et cetera, et cetera. So,
for sure.
So, yeah. I mean, there's my thoughts.
Got it. No, for sure. Delilah, your impressions of this game?
It was a good game. I watched it at a Packers bar.
of course, right? My buddy.
So was I.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. No, but honestly, again, like this one was a better prediction than my Baltimore and Houston, because I did say it would be close. Only because, again, I think that, again, I've said it before, I am a Bears fan, but Matt LaFleur, he's a damn good coach. I think he would have been higher in the candidacy for Coach of the Year if it wasn't for what Kevin did and D'Amico. You know what I mean? Like, I think because if those two coaches hadn't done what they did with having 4 different quarterbacks and being a first-year coach with a first-year, I think he would have been in a running for Coach of the Year, to be honest. But because of just the way that D'Amico, you know what I mean? I think that's what shifted stuff. But I think Matt LaFleur would have been more in that conversation with what he did with a young team. Like they said, this is the youngest team. It was the youngest team in the playoffs, like average age-wise. Yeah. And, and they were the first 7th seed to actually knock out a top seed and move on even.
Yeah, and move on, yeah. Exactly.
So, it just makes our division much harder.
Yeah, that's for good. And that's the thing. It just makes the NFC North much harder next year. Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder. But honestly, I like Jordan Love. Like, I think I liked him even before, and I always felt like he was getting unfair treatment. But good job, Green Bay, putting up a fight. I think if there was one more minute in that game, it could have gone the other way. We would see 49ers staying home. You know what I mean? But they ran out of time. Because we always say, right, it goes down to that final, the last, once it goes down to 0, that's it,
That's it, right? That's it.
But I feel like if they had more time, it could have gone the other way. But, hey, congratulations, 49ers. I agree with the fans saying, like, hey, watching. It all depends on Debo. It's not looking good for him. Last I saw the reports coming out of Kyle, it's not looking good. And so, but he'll have I'm sure, being who he is, he'll have a game plan for that. So, anyway,
100%.
Good job, good game. That was the best game to me. To be fair, I thought that was the most fun game all weekend. I mean, I know that I get it. People like,
no, it's all right. Hey, that's how you felt. That's how you felt. No problem there.
I know people.
It was a great game.
A big, AFC matchup, rematch. But I thought this was great. I thought this was great football.
100%. So let's move on to our next game, which was, I believe, Bucks Lions, right? The 3 and the 4 seed game. And honestly, just my initial impression, and full disclosure, I only caught highlights of this game. I wasn't able to watch this game. I was otherwise engaged. But it seemed like the Bucks were in it till the end. As much as I thought the Lions could come in here and really beat on Tampa Bay, I think Baker Mayfield ended up making a much better showing than people had anticipated. And so, at the end there was a final drive. He throws the interception, and it pretty much ends the game. But Tampa Bay put up a fight in this one. Delilah, your impression of this game?
Yeah, they did. I think it was just a tale of, like we say, the tale of two halves, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't always come down like that. Like, Tampa did put up a fight the whole time, but that fourth quarter was just dominated by the Lions. Like, they stepped up their defense, and then, Bucks started making mistakes. It's always that those margin of errors do matter when it's such a contest, especially playoffs, where in football it's so different from baseball and basketball, where it's best out of a certain number. Not in football. You win and go on. You lose, you go home. Like, you know what I mean? There's no best out of anything. But yeah, they put up a good showing. I think Baker put up a good fight. I'm sure. I saw his face. I felt so bad, pick 6, because he knew he wished he could take that one back. I saw him go down, and I'm like, I felt so awful for him, because he knew that was game. Like, he knew right there when that happened that the Lions were going to, that was done, So I always feel bad with stuff like that. But, I think Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield put up a really showing in the playoffs, more than people thought.
Yeah.
But kudos to the Lions moving on to the, NFC Championship for the first time since 91, 92. And it's a rematch from the 50s or something. Like
I saw something about that. Yeah, the 49ers and Lions,
Yeah.
You got to dig up the history, era. Right? Yeah, you got to dig these things up, right?
Pre-Super Bowl era.
Pre-Super Bowl era.
Yeah. But good job, Lions. Congratulations. Moving on.
There you go.
I get it. I saw all the generational people crying and emotional.
Yeah.
And I understand.
I mean, that stuff too. When you see Bob Seger and Jeff Daniels talking to each other on the sideline because they've been Detroit fans their entire lives, and they're just absolutely. It's a fun sight to see. Tina, how about you? Your impressions of Bucks Lions?
Can I give Sean's impressions of the Bucks Lions game?
You can do whatever you like, dear. That's right.
He's feeding me the information because he knows I didn't. I was traveling, so I wasn't able to.
No, I don't. No, don't worry about it. You ain't got to apologize.
Let's see. The Lions.
Yes, that's true,
outgained the
Lawrence. Thank
Bucks.
you for that tidbit.
Yeah.
Sorry, he was just reading the comment.
The Lions were able to. They were able to get the run offense going. According to Sean, they had over 100 yards over the Bucks. So I mean, that makes a difference in the game. And the first downs were similar. They were 23-26. So it was a close game until like what Delilah said. You had the interception. You had a few of the difference in the game was the 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until
absolutely.
those happen,
absolutely. 100%.
that's when it's going to happen. Though, and I guess there was an O lineman that came out on the Lions that was out of the game, but he ended up coming back into the game. So that would have made a big difference too for the offense. So
sure.
I'm a big one that you're only as good as your offensive line.
Yeah.
Your offense is only as good as your offensive line. If it can create holes or it can hold the pocket open for you to be able to get a long ball down there, then which I forgot to mention it. Like, holy moly, to go back to the Niners game. That one throw that Brock Purdy made that was like 60 yards.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
that was great.
Holy, like, okay. Sorry,
I
meant to mention that in my thing.
It's okay. That's all good.
Your offensive line, that's what it's there for. But I also, I mean, I didn't have high hopes for the Bucs because they did kind of sneak in. So their defense is good, but defenses can get ground down after a while.
Yeah.
And what are little mistakes in the first half becomes bigger issues later. I mean, if I could read Sean's handwriting, I would have a few more stats. I'm like sitting there, all of a sudden he's feeding this to me. I was like,
that's awesome.
Know. That's why I'm telling you this.
That's hilarious. No, it's hilarious. I love it. That's hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest.
He's such a good producer. He's a good producer. That's
right. He's trying. All right, so Handy, what did Sean send you about this game? You got anything there? What he sent?
No, he hit me up about the last one, but I actually didn't see that until I had already given my 2 cents.
Okay, there you go. See? Sean's working it, baby. Sean's working it. There you go.
But the one thing that I was impressed with above all else, this is I think I said this last week. Tale of 2 quarterbacks. You got Jared Goff, who was with the team and got traded. I mean, they won the Super Bowl and they got traded, and then he's out here and they didn't win, and they got rid of him because they thought he sucked, and they sent him to Detroit to kind of. I think when he got traded, that was kind of his supposed to be his send off. And then you got Baker Mayfield, who came in the league as a young hotshot. And like I said, he's one of those victims of just being a high draft pick going to a team with a crap foundation,
right?
And they beat and banged him around, and then they kind of went, "Yeah, we broke this toy. We're going to send it off to the land of misfit toys." But I was impressed by the level of quarterback play on both sides. I've been nothing but impressed with Jared Goff this season, what he has done in Detroit, and Baker Mayfield. Baker went to sleep one day and woke up and decided he wanted to adult, and it's looked good on him, and it has done well for him. He was talking with the guys on the sidelines. They literally were going toe to toe with Detroit for this entire game, until the interception. But I distinctly remember hearing the sideline reporter saying, "Hey, Baker's on the sidelines and saying, these guys can't guard you. You guys are out there. You guys have got this. You keep running around, so I'll keep feeding you." And that one drive where it was the Mike Evans show. Mike Evans right, Mike Evans left, Mike Evans across the middle, and he just drove him straight down the field. I think it was 4 or 5 plays right into the end zone.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was there eating up every minute of it. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely not the double middle finger salute Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. No, I think, after a while you have to grow up, right? Some guys get it done where they do grow up. I agree with you, Anthony, and some don't. And Jared Goff, I forgot to say, is like the stud of Detroit right now. I don't know if you guys know him. Like, they're parading him around. They're like,
for sure.
The doors are open all over that place. It's like,
believe me, if he gets them a Super Bowl, they'll give him the key to the city. Jared Goff will be the most, you know what I mean? Like, he'll be the most, like, Detroit forever will just open everything. He'll never pay for a check. He'll never have to do anything. He'll never have to pay for anything in Detroit as long as he's there, because he wins a Super Bowl and it's over. Jared Goff will be the greatest living Detroit player ever, go down in history. Yeah,
he'll never
100%.
Have to pay for anything. You're so right.
It will never. Eminem will write a song about him or something. It'll be great. Like, it'll be, we have the whole thing. It'll be fantastic.
Tina, maybe they will go back and redo this with Jared instead of with Baker. It'll be with Jared Goff.
There you go.
Your whole concept that you had there.
Oh, you gotta love it though. It's a good story. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah,
we got some stuff coming up on that. Last game of the weekend, of course, we kind of already talked about it because we went over some of the cursed, the non-cursed Bills, as Tina liked, right? Tina put it, they are not cursed. Again, this was a phenomenal game to end the weekend. I mean, what do you say? Patrick Mahomes, as much as, Tina's favorite player, I know, but as much as as much as you can, you sit there and just go, how? Because here's my thing: 6 straight. However you feel about Kansas City, 6 straight AFC Championship game appearances. Patrick Mahomes really, like, he's never known anything else. He's played in every AFC, or he's been a part of the team for every AFC Championship game since he's been in the league. Like, how does that happen? Like, and again,
sold his soul to the devil.
There you go. There it is. The devil wrote a lot of contracts there, and his handwriting. He's probably got carpal tunnel from writing all the contracts, right?
To have that big contract, the big contract. His homeboy getting in the relationship.
He found a crossroads demon somewhere. And
there you go. There it is. Right?
Probably the same one. He's like, I just got free from my last deal with some kid in a guitar.
Good one.
There you go. Thank you, Anthony.
Think of his name. There you go.
That's very niche.
Very niche. That's a niche. But and again, this was a game that I think we were all looking forward to. Obviously, the third matchup between Kansas City and Buffalo here in the playoffs in the last 4 years, whatever it was, and it didn't disappoint. And again, it comes down to let's say Norwood. See, I was going to call him Norwood. Let's say Tyler Bass makes the field goal. There's no guarantee you might go to overtime, but you still had like a minute 40 left to give Patrick Mahomes, so he could have pulled off another miraculous comeback, anyways. But again, we gave kind of our overall impressions, but I just feel like this is one of those things where it's really hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. As much as I know Tina wants to bet against him at every turn, it's so difficult because this kid just finds a way. Whatever's going on, he just finds a way to win. And it's just, you have to be impressed with that, because I was one of the people who said, and I'm sure you guys will probably remember this, I thought Kansas City was in a down year, and they were. They've come alive lately, and this was probably their best offensive performance for most of the year.
It was.
But, I thought for sure that somebody would get them in the playoffs, and now here they are again in the AFC Championship game. So, and again, Baltimore still could get them. I'm just saying, though, I didn't anticipate the Chiefs being in this game, to be honest with you. So the fact that, again, Patrick is overcome, baby. No, Delilah's like, no, I knew it. Delilah's like, yeah, no, I called it. And look at her. She's smiling from ear to ear. She's like, nope, I knew it. I
would like to say, they're not my favorite
one thing,
team.
but I'm not betting money against Mahomes.
I think
right.
I personally think that I know with firsthand information that Patrick Mahomes is a member of the Illuminati.
No, jeez.
We went into a meeting. There was 2 of us, and they said they were looking for 2 light-skinned gentlemen to join the potential candidates, and one of them had to do a whole bunch of it. And in order to join, they had to eat a lot of ketchup in public, and do a lot of commercials for the insurance company. And I said, I'm not finna do not near one of them.
That's funny.
Oh, wow. There it is.
So that's why I had it put in my contract that anytime I work with Patrick Mahomes, he got to make a reference to catch up.
Oh, man. I hope everybody understand. I hope everybody saw that Cat Williams interview so they know what the heck you're talking about, Anthony.
Right.
Whether they did or they didn't, they got seen 45 million times in 3.5 hours. Should have denied, should have bought a Honda.
But yes, one out of 4 hosts here told you, Kansas City was win. Listen, it's not because they're not beatable. Because again, they have lost the champion. They did lose the AFC Championship to Burrow, right? You see, so it's not like they are beatable, but they turn on a different level. I said, I don't know, something in their brains switch to a different gear when they make the postseason. If you guys do not want Patrick Mahomes to go to another Super Bowl or go to another AFC Championship, you got to keep them from actually going into the playoffs. Honestly, that's really the only way. That is the only way where he might not challenge you, because they just switch off, man. Something happens his O-line, by the way. We were talking about the O-line. They stood up for this guy. Let me tell you, my God, he was able to move. I don't know how many times he did his little spin stuff that he does. I still don't know. It seems like sorry, I don't want to say black magic because it sounds like
that's okay.
It sounds bad when I say it. I'm so sorry.
I don't.
It's just he does that twist thing where he gets out of being stacked.
What kind of twist is it? Are you able to do it? You can say
just the thing with his hips that Dwight just loves.
Right, that's what it is.
Or is it the peppermint twist, the chubby checker? Which one is it?
Whatever it is, he does.
He just does one of these, just gets out of there.
I don't know what it is. I just know that he gets out of it. And then he gets a pass off. That's the part that's even crazy. He literally gets out of it, and then he makes a completion. And it's like, how? Like, that's the part that is like, what? Like,
that's the magic. That's the Kermit magic, right?
Yeah, and then we're gonna talk about this in the next, when we talk about the upcoming games. But I'm just saying, like, he is beatable. But I just had a feeling that this Buffalo just was gonna do what Buffalo does. Every team has that one team they can't beat. You know what I mean? Dallas
like the Bears,
can't beat the
Bears and the Packers, right?
Right. The Bears can't beat the Packers. Dallas can't beat the Packers. But
in the playoffs.
But the Packers can't beat the 49ers. You see what it?
It happens. Goes around.
Every team, I feel, has that one team where it's very difficult to get past, no matter who's playing for you at quarterback, no matter what players you have. Just something happens where it's very difficult for you to get past over that hump. And it's just, this is the one.
Yep. No, agreed. And again, it's just, you sit there and go, you do feel bad for Buffalo because, man, they just can't get over the hump. Yeah. But, hey, moving on, are the Kansas City Chiefs one more time. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to take a quick break because we have been talking for an hour. So we're going to get a break on real quick, and then we'll be back with our championship week previews. Don't go away.
Crespo is going to be hosting for Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. And Let's Talk Football ladies.
Oh, there you go there. We had a commercial for Delilah. You do Diversity with Delilah, of course. Still doing segments online. You can catch those and catch Delilah Thursdays on the Ladies Takeover, of course. So this weekend is championship weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Only 4 teams remain, and after this weekend, there will only be 2. So,
14.
I don't know what order you have them there, Delilah, so just go ahead and put up the first game, and we'll go with that. I'm not sure. Yeah, there you go. So we got Lions and 49ers. Right. And again, I don't know if everybody pay attention. It's not that it's a huge deal, but I like coincidences sometimes. Both of these matchups this week are 1 seeds and 3 seeds in both championship games. So we got the 1 and the 3 seeds in both conferences that have made it to the final 2 in their conference. So here we go. Lions, 49ers. Now, I'll get mine out of the way real quick because here's my whole thing. Because I think this is what's important for Detroit if they are going to win this game. their rush defense hasn't always been great. It has to be great this weekend. Because I guarantee you, like you said, especially if Debo is out, Christian McCaffrey is going to be a workhorse. And if you cannot stop that young man, you are not going to win this game, Detroit. You hear what I'm saying? Let me holler at you, player, because I'm telling you, you're not going to do it. Because Christian McCaffrey can take over a game. We've seen him do it. And if he can get through that Lions rush defense, it could be a long day for Los Leones of Detroit. So, again, that's my quick take. I'm going to send it over to you guys next. But, hey, okay, Sean said something. Last time they met in the postseason was in 1993. San Francisco beat Detroit in the divisional round. Their first matchup was in 57 when the Lions emerged victorious. Thank you, Sean, very much for that. We appreciate that, sir. But, yeah, I think that is one of the keys for me is how the Lions, Aaron Glenn is going to have the boys. Okay, Nate, I hope you're right, sir. The Lions are a great story. And, I've seen San Francisco here before. Wouldn't mind seeing the Lions get to the Super Bowl. Just saying. Be the first time, right? So, but yeah. So that's to me, that's one of the keys for me is I really want to see how that rush defense of Detroit stands up against Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy and them. So, Donna, we'll start with you first. Your impression, what's going to happen here? What are your prediction if you want? Lions, 49ers this weekend.
I think the 49ers are beatable. I mean, I know that they won, and it's a game of inches. I heard the whole speech the Fast and Furious speech, okay?
Yeah.
I know it. Doesn't mean it win by an inch or a mile. All I'm saying is that the 49ers actually, show that they're vulnerable and that they are beatable, and I think the Lions do have a chance. I like Dan Campbell as a coach as well. Just like, Kyle Shanahan has done great things with the 49ers. I think Dan Campbell has done great things with the Lions and turning around that culture and making these, these guys really mesh and connect. And they show that their defense is better than people thought, right? They actually did put a lot of pressure on, they're covering the right people. Tina was saying, CMC didn't even have a lot of catches until later. And I feel like I think Detroit's going to follow the same scheme that Green Bay did, which is keep CMC for doing what CMC does.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if Debo's out, like people said, I think that's going to hurt. Yeah, I think that's going to hurt 49ers more than they're willing to admit. And so I'm going to give this one to the number 3 Lions. I want to see them go to the Super Bowl for the first time ever. So I'm going to go with Detroit. Come on.
Okay, no, fair enough. Four enough. Handy, what saith you, my friend? Lions, 49ers.
I'm going to go with the Lions because, I have traced my heritage back to Africa. And, in Africa, we do have a lot of lions. And so I have to go with my hometown team because I'm not originally from Detroit. So by 8 degrees of separation. Oh, you asked me what my impression was of the game. I figured I'd give you the second impression of the show.
There you go.
But
thank you.
Yes.
I expect nothing less, Anthony. Thank you. It's okay.
No, but I do. I think the Lions have put something together that definitely has the potential to. I mean, there have only been 3 other teams to do it this season. In those teams with no slouch either. So I'm definitely thinking the Lions can get this job done against the 49ers. They looked mortal. Lila said it already. They looked very mortal this past Saturday. And I know that weather was a big factor. Weather can be a great equalizer in any game. In any game. I mean, rain, snow, fog, that kind of stuff. But I think the Lions can bring the kryptonite to the Supermen over in Santa Clara. They play in Santa Clara, don't they? Wherever the stadium is. It's only problem Santa Clara, all the doggone vampires. There you go.
Oh
so,
my
yeah,
God,
I'm definitely going. I'm going with the Lions on this one, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Tina, once you get your little sip in there, we'll come to you. What are your impressions for this week? If you have an impression, do you do impressions like Handy? You can do one if you like. But what are your thoughts on this Sunday's
Remember,
game?
I do nicknames, not impressions.
That's right. Nicknames, not impressions. There you go.
Niners. I think it's going to be the Niners. And I think, like what you talked about, getting Christian McCaffrey involved in, et cetera, all those things are good. Here's my problem. I think the weak point on Detroit, I agree with Nate, is their offense. If San Francisco's defense can start getting to Jared Goff and Jared starts making mistakes, that's going to be hard for the Lions to overcome. That's a weak point. It's always been a weak point. Yes, their run defense is better, but they have not played a person like Christian McCaffrey who can catch and run and those things like that. I know a lot of people are like, hey, you know what? They're mortal. They're there. Yeah. Debo doesn't play. It'll change some things. But unlike in the game against Green Bay, Debo's probably not going to be playing a lot this week. So Brock is going to be playing with the third and the fourth string wide receivers that were sitting on the bench and had to come into the game cold. So, I just Shanahan. A lot of people are like, oh, I personally think Shanahan was keeping Christian McCaffrey out of the playbook because he wanted to prove that there was something to their team being able to win without having McCaffrey run it all in all the time. So, yes, I will be the first to admit I am a homer for Christian McCaffrey and Shanahan. Love that. Love those guys. If you guys are jealous of McCaffrey, you're jealous of your team not having McCaffrey, just remember the youngest one is going to be in this year's draft. You can get him from Rice, and he's a wide receiver.
There you go. Right, there you go. The McCaffrey brother is coming out in the draft, isn't he? That's funny.
And Atlanta's not going to draft him.
Anthony and I actually picked Detroit to win. I'm sorry. I know Sean comes in and out. Is that he's asking if we're staying? I think he's going to have a good game. But so Anthony and I picked Detroit to win, and now Tina's explaining why she thinks that's going to be the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess if I need to make a prediction, because I did just give my opinion of what I thought if Detroit. So if you want an opinion, I will gladly give one. I am going to pick the 49ers in this game. But again, if Detroit wins, I will not be upset.
Yeah,
but I am going to pick San Francisco.
Detroit is a wonderful story.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great story. Yeah.
It's a great story. I really do.
Yeah.
I just
100%. I'm with you. I'm with you there, Tina. I'm with you.
The script writers will be happy with either one of them winning.
Yeah, 100%. Right. That's right. The script is coming together nicely. No, I'm kidding. So let's go ahead and move on to our next game on that note. And of course, the second game of the weekend we know is the 3-seeded Chiefs versus the 1-seeded Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to let you guys go first on this one because I have a lot of thoughts and I want to try to organize them. So, Anthony, we'll start with you. Chiefs, Ravens this weekend. What do you got?
This is a tough pick. As we talked about maybe not 15 minutes ago, the Chiefs have seen this story before 6 times in the last 6 years. The Ravens have been conspicuously close enough to smell it. Like when you can tell that you're reaching the corn dog stand when you're at the fair because it's starting to get in your nostrils and it's like two down here and then hang a left. It's right over here.
There you go.
I think the thing with the Chiefs is that they're going to have to be prepared for anything because Lamar has gotten to the point now where Lamar has gotten to the point where when he gets settled in a game, he will take whatever he will take whatever Kansas City's defense will give him to work with as far as, he can stop and pick his targets and he can look and go, oh, they just rushed 6 guys and the other 5 are 10 yards downfield. I'm going to run this myself. So the Chiefs have got to be prepared for both of those scenarios. It's going to be a tough one for me. I think this one is going to be another great game. I know we use the term shootout a lot. I think it's going to be a shootout. And I think that I'm going to say this. I think that the Ravens are going to be the ones to upset the apple cart and get into the Super Bowl over the Chiefs of Kansas City.
Fair enough, my friend. Delilah, how about you?
9 points. I'm going to say 9 by 9 points.
Okay. And Anthony's got a 9-point victory. There you go. All right, Delilah, how about you?
I'm going to go with Baltimore only because their defense is better. Their defense will actually do what the Bills' defense couldn't do. They are going to go after Patrick Mahomes. They're going to knock him on his butt. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually get a couple sacks. They're going to bat stuff away. And I know that the Kansas City O-line is good. I'm not saying that. What I mean is that the Ravens' defense is also going to punch through that line. They're going to pressure. They got big guys who go out, their fullback, what's his name, who can block and what's his name anyway, but you know what I mean. So all I know is that Baltimore had the best defense all season. Do you know they led in multiple categories? Lights out defense. And so that's where I think it's gonna be a difference for Kansas City, where the Bills didn't do that. They didn't do that. Their defense, I'm not saying that their Bills defense was a slouch, but that wasn't this Ravens defense. And so I think that's going to be the big difference in this game. And that's why I'm picking the Ravens to beat the Chiefs. It's because they're going to actually pressure Mahomes. And he doesn't like that. When you pressure him, that's when actually he starts making mistakes. And that's when you can beat him, because that's what Burrows did. That's what Cincinnati did the time they beat them and moved on to the Super Bowl, is their defense pressured him and kept pushing at him and knocking him down and also covering the right people that they're supposed to. We talk about the only Isaiah Pacheco, they're going to be all over him because that guy has been good all playoffs. He's been stellar. That guy is mean. He's been and so I think that's what the difference will be. And that's why I'm going with the Ravens.
Okay, fair enough. Tina, how about you? What do you got for this weekend?
Well, we all know I'm rooting for the Ravens. That's just a given right there. I'm not
sure.
going to, but the Chiefs' defense has got some issues in there because both Mike Edwards and Willie Gay came out of the game. And Willie Gay is kind of the person that's lining up on the other side and telling people where to go. You need him. Trent McDuffie was banged out, but he came back in. Let's see. Their offensive line. We're talking about the offensive line. Delilah. Joe Thuney came out with a pectoral injury on the game, and he's still listed on the injury report. So that'll be interesting. Let's see. I saw something in here. Okay. Edwards, the reason why he's he's one of the linebackers that came out in the game. He's still under concussion protocol. So he's got to clear that in order to go back into the game. And then also Pacheco cleared concussion protocol too. So he'll be back in, but Morris is taking time. I mean, the Chiefs are beat up, and they were coming together, but they definitely have some issues. But I agree with everything that Delilah was saying. And as I was given information via a lovely producer too, what he said is Todd Monken, the Ravens OC, has been a huge help for Lamar.
Yeah.
He's been able to help Lamar balancing and keeping the team balanced and working through all that. And that was that. And I agree with that. That was the one thing that Sean also said is Lamar is at the point where he's letting the defense tell him what they're going to do. And he can go somewhere else. So I think isn't the only reason. Yes, it takes players. It takes everybody else, Nathan. Yes, I completely agree with that. I don't know the team as well as you do, so I'm going to always be on the side of caution with that. He's good, and I think he's hungry. He is hungry to prove a point. The Ravens are hungry to prove a point. So
100%.
I don't think this. I think this is going to be a close game. That's in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah. Todd Monken was a good addition. I have no idea where he came from. Do y'all remember where he came from? He came from some college team somewhere, Baltimore.
Oh, was it Georgia?
I can't remember.
Yeah. Somewhere in the South, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, what down there where the
somewhere between
Might have
Florida
a
and South Carolina.
bulldog.
yeah, right.
something like that.
Some kind of dog was involved, right?
Oh my god.
You know what? One of the things I really want to look for, because if you guys remember, just over the course of this year, that offensive line was heavily penalized. A lot of false starts, a lot of things. And I'm telling you, if Baltimore can put the pressure, you might see a lot of penalties from that offensive line of the Chiefs, and I think that's going to be one of the keys to this game. Because Delilah talked about, the Kansas City offensive line played really good last game. No pressure. No pressure from Buffalo.
No pressure at
Your
all.
offensive line looked really good, didn't it? All of a sudden, you get that pressure coming, and my boy Taylor on the right side may be offside more than you know, or false starting more than you know. So I'm just saying, there's a lot there just in that kind of matchup alone with that offensive line and the defensive rush of Baltimore that I definitely will be looking for in this game, because I really feel like Baltimore can bring the pressure, and that's one of the keys for me to this game. And because I'm picking the Ravens as well, I just really feel like this is there we go. Oh, and Nate threw in the Swifties too. Wow, Nate's going for it all, baby. His Ravens are in it. He's in it to win it. He's coming for everyone. Don't tell Nate anything, because he's coming for you. No, but yeah, I'm picking the Ravens as well, because I really just feel like, and a lot of what all you guys have said as well, I really just feel like they know they have something to prove. Lamar is probably going to will this team to a victory, even though I know Patrick will try to do the same thing on the opposite side. I really do feel like this is the Ravens' chance to really get that, the proverbial monkey off the back, as they say, to really just move forward and have people go, hey, wow, this Baltimore team is for real. So I am picking the Ravens as well in this one, and I'm really looking forward to both matchups. So Sunday, if anybody even thinks about it, don't call me. Don't message me. I'll be watching football on Sunday. I got no plans otherwise, so nobody talk to me. Nobody talk to me. No, but anyways, it's going to be a great weekend for football. Really appreciate that. Well, look at that. We have come to the end of another show. It's funny how fast these things fly. Again, thank everyone 100%. In the comments, I saw Ben, I saw Nathan, we saw Sean, we saw Lawrence, we saw Johnny Dean. There's probably a couple other people in there. But thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate you tuning in on Tuesdays to hear us just talk football and entertain you as best we can. As always, for those of you who watch regularly, you know what comes next. It's our final segment of the show, our one last thought. This is just anything we want it to be. This is just whatever's on our hearts, minds, whatever. So, Handy, ball starts with you, my friend. One last thought for this second to last week of January as we get into February in another week. What do you think?
Yeah, that's insane that it's the second to last week of January. It has. We were just telling everybody to have a great Christmas, and it's almost playoff time, and then the CFP National Championship came and went. Now it's almost Super Bowl time, and we're going to have our little couple weeks hiatus before we get back into the draft. Start talking draft again in April. It's all right around. It's insane. Yeah. It's scary. Yeah. I don't want to get to 60 yet. I want to enjoy all of those ages between now and 60. I want to enjoy every single one of them.
Sure.
Wow. One last thought. The one last thought that I have, is, if I've said this one before, I'm sorry. We got to do this once a week for several weeks. Make sure that you take time for you, and you don't let we all have to. Not all of us are born into families that have a lot of money. Most of us have to work to earn a living. Make sure that you put yourself in the position so that you don't let your employment, your place of employment, become your be all, end all, do all, and get you to the point where you run you in the ground, and they get the 100% best of you, and you give your job your best 99% and leave 1% for yourself. Find a way to balance that out. Really, give yourself a nice, good balance, because if you don't, because that job could say, hey, thanks, you've been great, you've shown up, you showing up and work late and worked extra shifts and worked weekends and nights and all kinds of crazy stuff and giving up vacation time. But yeah, we're getting rid of your position. So yeah, just do that. That's what I got. That's about what I have. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fair enough, sir. Tina, how about you? One last thought on this Tuesday?
I'm gonna make mine short and sweet, but I'm just gonna piggyback kind of off of what Handy said. My motto for a very, very long time has been work to live. You do not live to work.
Yeah. I agree with
Your
that
work
100%.
is there for you to be able to enjoy yourself and all of that. And we all get away from it. I know right now I should be logging back on and doing some recordings, but I'm not going to. I'll deal with it tomorrow.
I'm not going to. There you go. Right. Everybody give good. All right, Tina. Way to go, girl. You go, girl. Do that.
Tuesdays are my free nights. So again, as a friend, a very, very close friend of mine years and years ago said, that's what she loves about my attitude towards things is I work to live. I don't live to work.
To work.
So.
I love that. That's awesome. I may have to adopt that. That's awesome. Delilah, how about you? One last thought for this Tuesday.
So yeah, something weird happened yesterday. I had a small house fire.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes, but let me explain. Yes, but it's very weird. So I'll summarize as quickly as I could.
No, sure.
So I thought we burned So I was making something in the microwave and it was getting smoky. And I'm like, oh, maybe I burnt, it happens, even though it was supposed to be microwave safe. I'm like, all right. It was a little smoky. So I took everything out and plugged the microwave. And then I went about my day. And then it still kept getting a little smoky, but the smoke was white. It was white. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, let me open the window. I was like, oh, it got really bad. I'm thinking, wow, I really burned the plastic, And I'm like, what is this? And we're opening windows and mom's here. And listen, I was gone most of the day for work stuff because I do have to leave and do school visits. Yeah. And then I was going to go to the gym, but I was like, oh, let me just go home, check in on my mom and stuff. So I wasn't even going to be home because I usually just go to the gym after work. I was like, oh, let me stop in at home first. I'm glad I was here because she would have been by herself. And then all of a sudden, it got really bad, like the smoke. And I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. It's dark, and now we're like getting in our eyes or choking. And I'm like, oh, let me get the hell out of here. It must be it's got to be an electrical fire. Maybe it's the appliances. It's the guy in the wall. I don't see flames. So let's throw on our boots, fire drill. And I knocked on all the doors on the way down because I didn't know if someone was home. I was like, listen, I had to call the fire department because there's a fire I can't detect. I don't know where it is behind a wall. So I'm just saying, firefighters are on their way. I got my dog outside with me. My mom were outside like we're supposed to. And I'm waiting for the fire guys so they know because the kitchen has to come. So I live in a bungalow. So Chicago, we have these houses called bungalows. Yeah. So I'm in the back. Our kitchen's in the back. And so I'm like, so I could direct them where to go so that they don't scare the hell out of our, our neighbors. Yeah. So I'm waiting and it got there super fast. And I think there's a fire department super close to my house over here in Belmont Creek. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just like, yeah, it's back here. I don't even know what it is. So I'm staying outside with my mom. We're cold. And then they're like, hey, so it's do you have kids in the house? I'm like, no, it's just me, my mother, and my dog, and my parent that's upstairs. So I need to bring her outside. And they're like, well, you had a dream catcher on your door. So I have a porch door that has glass, and it caught fire.
Oh, wow.
And he says he's never seen it before. You know why? Do you know why? There was nothing flammable around it.
Really?
No, but the sun got hot enough.
Wow.
And it wasn't on the window. It was on a door in my kitchen. And and so the firefighters were like, we've never seen something like this before in our lives.
That is something else.
So he's like, yeah, we just threw it. So I literally ran past the dream catcher by the way on the way out the door because who would think of looking Why would I
You
look
wouldn't
at
think
that?
of it.
Yeah, why would
Yeah.
you even think of
I'm
that? Yeah.
thinking it's coming from an appliance and we get the hell out of here, you know? And like, yeah, we just
Yeah.
threw it on the floor and threw some water on it. I'm like, okay. And I'm guessing they asked me about kids, they probably thought maybe they lit on fire. You know what I mean? I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we can't.
Wow.
They're like, yeah, we can explain. We don't know what happened. And so people are assuming that that's what it had to have been. But then everybody started Googling, like, when it was super sunny. And, like, they're like, it wasn't even, they're like, it wasn't even that sunny at the time. So they're like, we don't even know how the sunlight, if it did come in, how it would come in an angle. It was kind of like, if you guys ever saw, like, Seinfeld with the spit, as a whole gag. So it kind of was like the improbability of how this happened. No one could. Anyway, long story short, some coincidence happened because I don't know how my mom, if she was alone, how she would have handled that. If she would have left the house on time. If she would have knocked on all the doors. If she would have followed all the like fire drill procedures. Also, we realized our detectives were faulty because they never went off.
Oh,
and, you
wow.
know, and I listened to a smoke detector, so when I hear the beep, yes, I changed the batteries.
No.
I know it's an ongoing joke with people of color. I changed mine. So
there it is. There we go. There it is. Just like,
we got 6 in the house, and when one starts beeping, I replace every single one.
Right. So anyway, so nothing. So they didn't go off. You know, I texted my brother. You know, I called my brother because this is how, you know, he's the building owner. And I'm like, oh my God, come over here. The fire department came, and I can't even explain to you over the phone what was on fire. So just come over here. So when the smoke detectors didn't go off, so you gotta replace them all because they did not go off at all. Because God forbid if it was a really bad one, like how would we even know? You know. And so the universe sent me here at the right time so that I could get my mom out the house and my dog, call the fire department, and also make sure smoke detectors were replaced. So, you know, weird stuff happens out there, y'all. So you just never know.
Yeah.
So
no, that's very true.
I'm just saying, be vigilant. Know your fire drill for your house. Have a plan. I followed mine out the door. So, listen, and if you have dream catchers, I don't know what to tell you, but they might catch fire for some reason in the most bizarre way. Because I had nothing, no candles. Nothing was near it. The outlet to our fridge is on the other side, so we can't even see there was a spark that came out of the outlet.
Right.
It just, the sun just came perfectly in.
Yeah, even the firefighters couldn't figure it out. They were like, "Yeah, I guess." But anyway,
that's crazy.
Like I said,
but I'm glad everybody's okay. Like
weird. That's why I'm like, "Is this month? Like, what's going on?" That's really weird.
Yeah, that is very peculiar. You don't, that's crazy.
So my one last thought is like, you just never know and be prepared. You know, I spoke to the bear says be prepared. Just be prepared. By the way, we do have fire extinguishers. I would have used it if I would know something was on fire. But like I said, there was no flames.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right, that's the other part. Like,
flames.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, just be prepared. You never know an emergency might come across.
Very true.
Have your plans ready. Know where you gotta go. Where you gotta leave. Where you gotta call after you call 911. Emergency preparedness. It doesn't have to be doomsday prepper type of stuff. Okay, it doesn't have to be that far. But you know, just be prepared and be safe.
For sure.
You never know.
All right. Well, thank you, Delilah. Again, I'm glad everybody is fine. My one last thought is actually more of kind of a thank you. I think I may have mentioned this before. May 4th, I'm standing up at a wedding for one of my really good friends. Kasha is getting married to her fiance, David. Shout out to Kasha and David. And they were nice enough to let me come along this past Saturday for the testing of the menu that they're going to have at the wedding. So Nick got a free lunch on Saturday, testing all the the food at the banquet hall that they're going to So I was a little bit into the process of choosing the food for the wedding, which for me I was like, well, this is phenomenal. Can I do can somebody else got a wedding they need I can chime in on the food here. But yeah, it was just a great thing, and I think that's talking about part of how the year is already flying by. I was just looking so much at things that are happening, outside of just that wedding. And I've got, my birthday passed, so I got another year older. And then, I got orientation next week for baseball that starts April 1st and yada, yada, yada. And again,
already?
yeah, as I said, it's like Anthony was right, man. Like the I just turned 51. Can we slow down before I hit 60? Like, can we just take some time to enjoy those in-between years? I'd like to enjoy my 50s because, man, this year is just flying by. I got already, my calendar is literally starting to fill up with stuff, and I'm actually putting stuff in my phone that I never do because I'm like, I can't forget this date. I got to do this, this, and this. And it's like, so just the hecticness of it all, but I love it. And again, I think it's kind of a similar what everybody has been saying. It just take a little time to enjoy, man. Like, life will move very fast, and it does. Like, it just does. Time waits for no man, as the saying goes. So just try to enjoy what you can. Like Tina said, but give me the, hold on. See, I had it here, and then I lost it because I got to go scroll up a little bit. Work to live, not live to work. That is actually phenomenal advice. So, again, thank you guys all for watching this week. We really appreciate it. As we know, we do have 2 games this weekend, so we will be back next Tuesday with some more news, I'm sure, and a preview for what will then be the Super Bowl. So, again, thank you all for watching. Everybody who commented, liked, whatever, thank you so much. So, for Tina Winter, Anthony Handy, Delilah Crespo, I'm Nick Rosario. Everybody have a phenomenal week. See you next Tuesday. Woo! Have a good night.